solar turned into beginning to set over the horizon, casting a warm, golden glow across the historical planet's rust-colored panorama. Dr. Mara Johnson, an eccentric human historian and archaeologist, stood atop a windswept hill, her long, auburn hair whipping wildly inside the brisk wind. She squinted via her trusty pair of old-school binoculars, scanning the horizon for any signal of the mysterious structure that were haunting her desires for the beyond few months. Finally, she noticed it. Looming in the distance, a darkish silhouette towards the placing solar, became a large, enforcing structure in contrast to something she had ever visible before. It resembled an significant, historical library, its towering spires stretching in the direction of the heavens like the greedy palms of a few lengthy forgotten god. Her coronary heart raced with excitement and trepidation as she commenced to make her manner in the direction of the shape, her dirt-blanketed trekking boots kicking up clouds of red dirt with every step. As she drew closer, she could see that the library changed constructed into the aspect of a giant, crater-pocked mountain. The walls of the shape seemed to glow with an eerie, otherworldly mild, casting odd shadows throughout the barren terrain. The nearer she were given, the more she felt as if she were walking into the pages of a protracted misplaced legend. Mara had stumbled upon this forgotten planet, even as accomplishing a recurring survey of an unexplored section of the galaxy. Her Deliver's historic computer had malfunctioned, stranding her at the inhospitable world. In the weeks that observed, she had controlled to eke out a meager lifestyles, scavenging for meals and shelter. It became during considered one of her scavenging expeditions that she had stumbled upon an ancient map, hidden away in the ruins of an alien metropolis. The map had led her to this mysterious library. Now, as she stood before the massive doorways of the historical structure, she could not shake the feeling that she was approximately to embark on an adventure that would alternate the course of records. With a deep breath, she reached out and grasped the handle of one of the huge doorways, preparing to step into the unknown. The door creaked open, revealing a dimly lit chamber filled with towering cabinets stacked with dusty, historic tomes. A faint aroma of musty paper and old incense wafted through the air. Mara stood on the brink, her coronary heart pounding with anticipation and fear. As she ventured deeper into the library, she couldn't help however marvel what secrets and techniques lay hidden within its time-worn pages. The textual content within the first quantity she picked up turned into written in a strange script, but she had absolute confidence that she could eventually find a way to decipher it. She had spent years reading historic languages and artifacts, and he or she became confident that her abilities might serve her properly on this extraordinary and wondrous region. As she turned the pages of the ancient tome, experience of marvel and awe washed over her. It became clear that the information contained within those books was in contrast to whatever she had ever encountered earlier then. She knew, with a certainty deep in her bones, that she needed to percentage this discovery with the galaxy. But she also knew that there would be those who would are trying to find to stop her. Those who could see the information she had located as a risk to their strength and manage. Mara steeled herself, determining that not anything could stand within the manner of her task to deliver the misplaced expertise of the ancients again into the mild. The destiny of the galaxy, she realized, relied on it. The hours became days, and the times into weeks, as Mara immersed herself in the ancient texts. She spent her nights drowsing on piles of dusty tomes, her days poring over the tricky diagrams and peculiar symbols. The knowledge she observed became surprising in its scope and complexity, and he or she knew that she would want to spend the rest of her lifestyles analyzing it if she hoped to grasp even a fragment of its truths. As she delved deeper, she commenced to discover secrets that had been lengthily forgotten, even by means of the maximum discovered students of her personal time. There were pointers of a lost civilization, a race of beings who had once dominated the galaxy, with the expertise and power that handed even the legends. She observed plans for gadgets that would bend space and time, and recipes for elixirs that promised immortality. And on the heart of all of it, she located a single word, a name that seemed to echo through each web page: Zodiarium. It was clear that the understanding she became uncovering turned into dangerous, not just in the hands of folks who would possibly searching for to wield its electricity for evil, however also inside the hands of folks that may misuse it via lack of information. Mara knew that she needed to be cautious, that she needed to guard the secrets of the Zodiarium at all prices. One day, as she sat inside the first-rate analyzing room of the library, surrounded through towering stacks of books, she felt a presence at the back of her. She became slowly, her heart racing, awaiting to find an enemy. Instead, she noticed a person, a fellow explorer who were following her progress for a while. His eyes had been wide with awe and surprise, and he held out a hand, presenting her a truce. Mara hesitated, unsure whether or not she should agree with this stranger. But something in his gaze, in his bearing, informed her that he became now not an enemy. Slowly, she extended her very own hand, and that they shook on it. The guide delivered himself as Darius, and over the following couple of weeks, they became allies in their quest to understand the mysteries of the Zodiarium. Together, they navigated the treacherous political landscape of the galaxy, warding off people who sought to control or break the knowledge they determined. As they delved deeper, they started to discover even extra secrets, and the stakes grew higher with every discovery. They knew that the destiny of the galaxy hung in the stability, and that they couldn't have enough money to make a single mistake. The race turned into on, and the prize became not anything less than the destiny of the universe itself. Through it all, Mara never forgot the feeling she had skilled when she first set foot inside the historic library, the feel of wonder and awe that had washed over her as she turned the dusty pages of those historical tomes. She knew that she turned into not on my own in her quest, that there have been others accessible who shared her ardor for the reality, and she or he drew electricity from that expertise as they journeyed ever deeper into the heart of the Zodiarium. Darius, meanwhile, had become something of a student warrior, his mind ever sharp and prepared to choose apart the complicated net of prophecies and astrological charts that seemed to manipulate the very destiny of the galaxy. His arms, once skilled for conflict, now trembled with excitement as he became page after web page, his eyes darting from side to side between textual content and chart, searching for patterns and hidden meanings. Their partnership became now not without its share of tension, of path. There were instances once they disagreed on the interpretation of a specific prophecy, or while Darius could develop impatient with Mara's meticulous attention to detail. But they always controlled to locate not unusual ground, to set apart their differences and focus on the venture at hand. For they both understood the stakes. If they failed, if they had been not able to unravel the mysteries of the Zodiarium, and save you something cosmic catastrophe loomed on the horizon, there would be no 2D possibilities. And in order that they labored, day and night time, their minds and our bodies driven to the restriction, as they raced towards time to uncover the secrets and techniques that had been hidden for millennia. They knew that they have been now not on my own in their quest. There had been others accessible, who sought to manipulate the power of the Zodiarium for their personal ends. But in addition, they knew that they have been the first class equipped to stand the challenge, and that their bond, their shared willpower to the truth, would be the key to seeing them through to the stop. Their adventure took them to forgotten temples, buried underneath the sands of lengthy vanished civilizations, their partitions etched with complicated designs that seemed to map the very heavens themselves. They navigated treacherous political waters, keeping off the attention of people who would seek to silence them or flip them to their very own functions. And as they drew closer to the coronary heart of the thriller, as the cosmic alignment that could decide the destiny of the galaxy drew closer with every passing moment, they knew that they couldn't have the funds for to make an unmarried mistake. For they were now not simply explorers, not just scholars or warriors. They were the guardians of a secret that had been entrusted to them by way of history itself, and the destiny of the universe hung inside the balance of their every movement. They had been the ones who would decide whether or not the energy of the zodiarium might be used to convey order and enlightenment to the galaxy, or whether or not it'd be twisted and corrupted, dooming all they held expensive to oblivion. And in order that they persevered their quest, their hearts packed with hope and resolution, their minds filled with the know-how of all that had come before, and the information that the alternatives they made now might echo through the halls of time. For they had been the final, first-class wish for the universe, and the destiny of the whole lot depended on them. As they drew closer to the coronary heart of the zodiarium, the stakes grew higher, and the risk greater drawing close. They knew that there have been others who sought to harness its electricity for their personal ends, and they could not come up with the money for to be careless or to permit their defend down for a moment. But they also knew that they were more potent collectively, that their specific mixture of competencies and experience made them a powerful pressure against any danger. Darius's scholarly interests had emerged as all-ingesting, as he sought to unravel the closing of the zodiarium's secrets and techniques. Mara, ever the warrior, educated relentlessly, honing her abilities and getting ready for the battles that she knew have been inevitable. And yet, despite their awareness on the venture at hand, they could not help but sense experience of awe and marvel at the splendor and complexity of the universe they had been exploring. The day sooner or later arrived, when they stood before the super door that caused the coronary heart of the zodiarium. It changed into engraved with symbols and glyphs that regarded to bounce and shift earlier than their eyes, as if the very cloth of truth became shifting round them. They exchanged one closing look, nodded to every other, after which stepped forward collectively. As they handed via the doorway, the arena past became revealed to them. It was an area of brilliant splendor and impossible power, in which the forces of the universe regarded to coalesce and dance in harmony. They knew that they had arrived at their destination, the end result in their journey, the instant whilst their fates could be decided. Surrounding them were high-quality towers of crystal and metallic, each one focused on a distinctive astrological sign, its energies flowing inside and outside just like the tides, creating a symphony of light and sound. In the middle of all of it stood a high-quality throne, fabricated from pure gold and encrusted with gemstones, its occupant a being of such splendor and majesty that it defied description. The creature grew to become its gaze upon them, and they felt as if their very souls had been laid naked earlier than it. It spoke to them in a voice that appeared to come from the very heart of the cosmos, its words echoing through their minds and our bodies, resonating with the reality that they'd searched for so long. You have come, it stated, the selected ones, the guardians of the zodiarium. You by myself have established your well-worth, your willpower to the more desirable. You have earned the right to face earlier than me, to percentage in the strength that I wield. Darius and Mara bowed their heads in humility, acknowledging the creature's phrases. They knew that they had been inside the presence of something truly divine, something that had guided and shaped the route of records, because the beginning of time. And yet, in spite of their awe and reverence, they also felt a feel of responsibility, to apply the strength that were given to them accurately, to make certain that it was now not abused or used for personal advantage. As they stood there, bathed within the mild of the zodiarium, they knew that their lives could never be the same. They were not simple explorers or scholars or warriors. They had been the guardians of the universe, the keepers of its most carefully guarded secret. And it became up to them to make sure that its energy was used to bring enlightenment and peace to all the worlds that lay within its reach.